Howdy, everybody. How's it going? Hope everybody's having a great day. I was going to do a little short video, hopefully short and long-winded, on some things that I went through a couple years ago. I was, of course, battled with my weight for a long time. And a friend said, why don't you try one of these skinny shots? So, of course, this is the particular one that I tried. And this is what was prescribed and everything. I don't know if that's a problem showing that on TikTok or not, really. I don't know, or YouTube or whatever it is. So if I was just going to show the shot, you can't really tell a whole lot about it anyway, I don't guess. Unless I flipped it that way. So this is one of these shots that you take, I'm getting sit at the screen. So, you just, that's a lock. You undo the lock. Or that's not the lock. But here's the lock, here. So you turn the lock. And bam, you're ready to go. You press that, and it's gonna. Oh crap! I just injected that stuff into the thing. Oh well. Anyway, you press the button, and bam, you put it up to your stomach, and you do one on the right side and one on the left side of your navel every week. So I sure did, man. I just shot that stuff. Wasted it. All right, it's okay. So anyway, So I did this for maybe a year. I don't know. I did it for a little while, And some people, I have a friend that's had her gallbladder out. She likes it and she can do it, and she didn't have any problems with it at all. I could do it, I had a few issues, but I could do it, And it caused me to be real bloated, first of all, and then I would not pass solids for a couple of days. I wouldn't go to the restroom there. And then when I did after that, a couple or so days, it'd be very soft, And then after that, once or so, then maybe it would be very liquid like water, And that would be every week. And it would go through that cycle, And I would not be hungry, I could make myself eat, but I would not be hungry. If I burped or belched, it felt terrible. It was like gross. It's like there was old food in your stomach or something. I don't know exactly what you'd say, but it was like that. I'm gonna move this thing here, face the camera a little bit more. So I did this for a while, and when I did go for a colonoscopy, that was a special consideration because the food stays in your system longer, so they have to make sure you're clear, and all that, And I was fine with that for a while, But then later I started seeing stuff through some news sources, how that it paralyzes your stomach, or it can lead to paralysis of the stomach. Maybe that's how it works, paralyzing the stomach so that the food stays in your stomach. And it can lead to cancer, a couple of kinds or so, whatever. It can lead to blindness and all these things. And that's what it does, and I didn't know, it creates, synthetically, it creates a hormone that your body already secretes in your small intestine, and it's called GLP-1. And there's a nerve that goes from your brain to your gut, called the vagus nerve. And your gut is considered or called your second brain, because there's more nerves in your gut than there is in your spinal cord, which is really wild. And this GLP-1, one of the things that it does is that it tells your brain, hey, I'm full, quit eating, basically. There are other hormones that tell your brain, hey, I'm hungry, I want to eat, and all this kind of stuff. But that's how the GLP-1 was working. And so these skinny shots, the ones that I'm familiar with, and I think it's all of them, they work by synthetically creating a GLP-1. And it's like a preacher told me a long time ago, everything that man creates, he kind of messes up, If you were to take and put a leaf under a microscope, the more you got to looking at the smaller parts of it, the more in depth you got, the bigger you made the strength of the microscope, the more incredible things you would find in anything that God's done. Whereas with a man, the more imperfections you would find, So I tend to think about that a lot. So, of course, this was synthetically created by man to do GLP-1, which your body already does. Well, my daughter had told me she thought I got to where I faded off of this drug, this particular thing, this protocol, because, I really wasn't too happy. I started taking it every other time and then less and less, and because that worried me. And then my daughter told me she thought I was insulin resistant. And I didn't know what that was. So I looked into it a little bit. And there's a product that will naturally help you to create your GLP-1 with no side effects. And it's also listed along with medicines in the same digital reference that doctors use to prescribe drugs and stuff, Of course, it's not a big pharma thing. It's a nutraceutical. So I guess there's not the money behind that for people to prescribe that as a general rule. This thing basically comes from the yerba mate plant, which is huge in South America. Athletes use this yerba mate plant. They love it. Well, this company is very renowned. Back in the day, it was the Rexall Drugs Pharmacy Company, and I remember that when I was a kid. They were started in 1903 or 4, and they were huge. They were like all these other companies, Walgreens, CVS, whatever, nowadays. They were real big. And around 1988, I think this company came up with and invented a fiber product, which is equally fascinating, if not more. So maybe a little later than that, I don't know exactly when, they created this product that's a yerba mate tea. And they processed it with five different kind of things, and they patented the process. So they handpicked it, and they grew this product and had everything to do with it, start to finish. It was like farm to table. So they handpicked it, and they fire roasted it. They I don't know what order, concentrated, purified it, and all of this kind of stuff they did to it, and made it great. Well, back in the day, we used to fast in church and stuff. That was not required, but it was a great thing. But fasting for us was one of two things. It was either no food, no water, which I never did do. That was too hard. Or it was just no food and water, drink water, which I've done a number of times, but it was mostly in my 20s probably, So as long as I ever went was 5 days, and we were doing a lot of heavy, hard physical work, setting a gospel tent, which is like 100 feet wide or whatever, and all this stuff, and we're practicing music, and which is not physical, but and then we're fasting, the whole time. And, biblically, fasting and prayer are considered a powerhouse, a very strong powerhouse. So, but my pastor said, and his preference was not to go on long fasts, which some people would go 40 days or whatever, but not to go on long fasts, but to do short fasts often, maybe skip one meal here and then whatever, maybe skip 2 meals here and whatever, that kind of thing. So I did that for a while. Lost a lot of weight back then. And I really wasn't too overweight in my 20s anyway, but I shrunk down pretty good. So this was a consecration thing back in the day. Well, nowadays they have this protocol of fasting, intermittent fasting, that's really popular. And generally speaking, it's not quite as strict, so it's not quite as hard. So they'll provide a little bit of nutrition, maybe no calories, practically no calories or no carbs, if not zero. So it's a nutritional, you're adding a little bit of nutrition though. And what this company has done is they have used this yerba mate plant and created a tea. And according to the fast nowadays that they speak of scientifically, I suppose, is you can drink black coffee plus nothing or black tea plus nothing. And this company came up with a blend of this yerba mate plant that was concentrated and all. So what this does, this helps boost your GLP-1 naturally. No side effects. It's a nutraceutical. It comes from plants. And I think there are a few other plants that do this, but not to this effect. Like I say, this has been patented, and the process was patented, and the product is concentrated. So you get a lot of it. Well, they made this tea and they put stevia to sweeten it, so it tastes great. I like the tea good enough to, I just, I drink it quite often, and sometimes hot, often cold. And they have a couple of flavors, but they have one flavor that's more of a seasonal that I really liked, apple spice, and I'd like to drink it hot. And I would kick it with cinnamon. Sometimes I'd kick it with cayenne pepper. But it basically doesn't break your fast, It does have some health stuff in there, like, whatever it is, nutrients and whatever. But the thing about it is, with it boosting your GLP-1, which it does, you're not hungry. So it makes fasting like a non-deal, it's a no-brainer. If you want to do intermittent fasting, this is the way to do it, because it's not hard. And you can do it without this, you can intermittent fast, which is a very healthy thing to do. But this makes it so easy, So this is a part of a protocol that I'm doing now since I was insulin resistant. I found out I was insulin resistant before I was considered pre-diabetic, but the last time my numbers went from lower to higher, went from 5.7 to 6.4, which is right on the verge of being a diabetic. So somebody said being a pre-diabetic is a diabetic without medicine. So that might be the deal. So I started incorporating this whole protocol from this company that used to be Rexall Drugs. Now it's called Unicity. So I'm incorporating this thing, which has two products which I neglected to bring in here. But they have a tea and they have a fiber. The tea is called Unimate, play off of their name, Unicity. So it's Unimate, which is from the yerba mate plant. And they got this little powder in a little sachet. You pour it in water, shake it up, man, you're good to go, And you just sip it along. You don't just like chug it, kill it. But you sip it along, and it just makes intermittent fasting a breeze. And then what is preferred is when you get to your biggest meal per day, or maybe whatever, if you want to do it different ways, it's very user-friendly. You can split it up for 2 meals. You can take 2 of them or whatever. But when you get to your biggest meal per day especially, you take this fiber blend, and it's considered a fiber matrix because it is a blend of soluble and insoluble fibers, 2 things. And it's not so much quantity as it is the blend, I think. And this was created by Rexall in '88, from what I understand. I think it was called BioLife, I believe is what it was. And anyway, it's changed names now, and it's a product called Balance by this company. And you drink this. Some prefer to drink it 10 minutes before your meal. Some people drink it with their meal. You can drink 1 or 2, but it keeps your insulin from spiking. And the whole thing about me finding out that I'm insulin resistant is I have to keep my insulin level low. The lower I keep it, the more I can switch over from you're either burning glucose or you're burning fat, and I can get to the point of burning fat and losing belly fat because I got a problem with belly fat, And so I drink this fiber, and then there's a sequence to your food eating. So you eat your fiber first, and I just do this with this powder, but sometimes a lot of veggies or salads or something too. And then you eat your fats and your proteins. And they don't spike your insulin hardly at all. Proteins a little, and the fats don't spike they don't cause an insulin event. They might spike your blood sugar slightly or something, I don't know. But you save your carbs for last, And I'm just trying to understand how to eat still, even understand some of these things. Because there are foods that are carbs, but they also contain fiber, and they cross over. They're in several categories, So anyway, you save your carbs and things like that for last, whether it's desserts or whatever. It's best not to eat desserts and sugar and all that kind of thing. But hey, we're human. We're gonna do some stuff that's enjoyable. Sometimes. To be honest with you, the more healthy that I try to eat, and this started with a plant-based diet with me years ago, the more fun it becomes. You find little things that are fun, that taste good. when you first think about going plant-based, which I did for a year or so, you think, man, this is going to be tasting like eating grass clippings. It's going to be horrible. And I've had a few things that I thought tasted that way. I've had some of these green teas that I thought were hideous, and even these fake meats and all that kind of stuff. Well, I've come to determine that a lot of those are not healthy anyway. So I'm just trying to watch how I eat, and be careful. And I do eat a lot of plants because it's helped me in the past a lot, But anyway, this company has got this protocol where you drink this fiber stuff, this powder fiber, put it in your water, and you drink it. You don't make as much. The tea you make, 20 or so ounces, 16 to 20 ounces or whatever, and you just sip it along. But you drink the fiber before you eat or during, but especially before sometimes. People prefer that. Some people drink it 10 minutes before you eat, and this stuff lasts about an hour. So you have a window of time where you can eat. And what it does is it keeps your insulin down by, not causing your sugar to spike so much. So in the long run, it's really healthy in a lot of ways, So then after your lunch, or if that's your biggest meal, which it usually is mine, then I'll make another tea and drink another tea. Sometimes I'll drink 3 or 4 in a day because I just like the tea. It tastes good and everything, And so another thing that is completely different than this, maybe I shouldn't go off subject, is I found out to hydrate myself, drink water and supplement with Celtic salt or different things like that. Himalayan salt, Celtic salt, or Baja salt or something like that. So that seemed to help me a lot. That was a great thing. But anyway, this product is something that I like a lot. I'm going to promote it. I'm becoming a distributor. I liked it so much. The last time I had a product that I liked, that I did that, which I've only done it once before in my life, was a healthy chocolate. It was called XOCAI. It had the acai berry in it. I think the company's long gone. I don't know. It was a healthy chocolate, and that was a great product. But that was a one-trick pony. And this here is just for so many things. I mean, it's just for everything you eat and whatever, and everything you do. So it keeps your blood sugar from spiking so high. The fiber keeps it down, which means the insulin doesn't have to spike so bad. Keeps the insulin down. When you sleep, you're fasting, you're not eating. So if you skip your morning meal and you break your fast at lunchtime or whatever it is by eating, all during that time, you're drinking this tea when you wake up in the morning, all during this time, you're burning the glucose first and you're burning fat. But you get into where your brain starts using ketones. And the whole dementia thing, it runs in my family some, and I've seen it with so many friends, that worries me. So I don't want to lose my mind, my faculties. And once you start, you go in a room and you forget what you went in there for, or you're all kind of things like that. That's the first signs of dementia or Alzheimer's, I'm told, which really bothers me, because I've certainly had that. And I found out I had the insulin resistance by getting my blood work done. And you take your triglycerides and you divide that by your HDL, your good whatever it is. And if that number is 2.0 or higher, you're insulin resistant, is what it sounds like. If it's lower than that, especially if it gets down to 1.5 or even 1 or lower, you're very healthy. So I guess from 1.5 to 2 is you're getting too far from the shore. You need to bring your boat back in, or whatever. So those are some of the things I've discovered lately. This particular company, if you're interested in this protocol, what they prefer is that you get your blood work done at the front of trying this product, because they will give you a 90-day full money-back guarantee at the end of 90 days if you don't see results. They're so sure of their product that they will do that. And they are listed in the PDR.net, which used to be called the physician's desk reference. Now it's the prescriber's digital reference, which means it's right in there with any other drugs, And some of these particular products are like your natural statins or your natural things that are good for diabetes and all that kind of stuff, So pretty cool, it's verified. Been over 50 independent studies, by the people in Sydney with the glycemic index, by the people at Brigham Young University, by the people at Stanford, I think it was, by the Cleveland Clinic, which is huge. It's maybe the best hospital in the United States or second best in the world or wherever. Certainly a great heart hospital. They've all done studies and proven that this stuff works, as good as medicine. And you can read those studies, and I would suggest that you do, and see exactly how they worded things, because I'm, trying to put it in my own words and draw your own conclusions. I will put a link in the comments or whatever if you want to order the product. If you order it through me, you get a discount. Retail is like $70 higher, but you get my price, and it kicks me back $10, fine. So I just want to share the product and the protocol because it's helped me a whole lot, and I think it will help other people. I know it will. It'll help other people as well, And I'm 66, soon to be 67, and you get to my age, which I don't feel old. I'm a big kid. But, there's so many people even 10 years younger than me that are having such horrendous health problems. They're losing their limbs, and they don't eat good, and they take a condition that's brought on by lifestyle, and they medicate it instead of changing their lifestyle. So, they'll take insulin before they eat and things like that, so that they can eat whatever they want to. And sometimes it's, bologna and just all kind of junk, And it's a lot better off to change your lifestyle, because it becomes enjoyable, it becomes fun. So if you don't have access to getting your blood work done, this particular company, for about $47, they'll send you a kit and you can get it done at the front of it and at the end of the whole deal, where you get your money back. I suppose that's included in that. I don't really know, but it comes out to like between $5 and $6 a day. And if I'm intermittent fasting, that means I'm skipping a biscuit from the Cajun biscuit from Bojangles or something. That's $6 or something there. So if I skip snacks and all too, I'm coming out ahead. I'm not losing anything. I'm coming out ahead. So I don't seem to be able to make a short video, which I really need to do. But anyway, I explained it as best as I can recall. If I forget something, I'll try to add it back in. And like I said, I'll leave y'all some links and everything. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I just want to help somebody, really, because it's helped me. It seems to be helping me. I'm only 3 weeks in, but I'm already noticing, much more energy. I didn't know I was depleted that much. I'm noticing more energy. I'm sleeping deeper. I'm dreaming, which I hadn't done that in a long time. The thing about it is, one of the interesting things, insulin resistance, I can't say it, is connected with a lot of diseases and all. This is according to Ben Bickman, who is a biomedical scientist and a cell biology professor at Brigham Young University. I'm reading this book while we get sick. And it's a little bit hard, because they got some terms in there, and, you have to get used to some of the terminology, but mostly it's an easy read. Once it's just certain definitions or terms that you have to learn. And the guy's, considered the foremost authority, on this subject, because his specialty is in metabolism, biomedical scientist with an emphasis in metabolism, I think it is. Insulin resistance is a big deal. And he has shown how that it is linked in part or in full to many things, cancer, of course, diabetes, but even things that I suffer with or have dealt with for a long time. I had eye floaters. When I had cataract surgery, got rid of that, of course. But the eye floaters, I have the skin tags, and it almost looks like I have less now. I'm not positive yet. Ringing in the ears, because of the fact that insulin goes to all your parts of your body, all the organs, then it has to do with the nerves. It relates to the nerves. Nerves are in the ear, or nerves are everywhere through your body. So this can be linked to helping, if this protocol can be linked to helping neuropathy, diabetic neuropathy, or various things, childhood obesity, all this kind of stuff, because the insulin resistance is linked to it. So this is a protocol to battle insulin resistance. So I guess that's all for now. I appreciate you taking your time. If you took your time, if you didn't, that's fine too. I'll try to make some shorter reels or whatever, or clips out of some of this stuff, so it won't be so long and drawn out. And keep picking your guitar or whatever instrument you play. Y'all have a good one. Have a good one.